Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside of Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Welcome. It's Jenny. It's the Dance to Heal podcast. Welcome. Today, we're going to, again, because this is the last July episode, I want to remind you again of in learning boundaries, when placing a limit with others, say no, not maybe. All right? Why is that important? Because when people hear maybe, it becomes a maybe later, maybe next time, maybe if I ask you again in a different way, maybe if I threaten you, maybe if I bribe you, you'll say yes. When you say no, it is a complete sentence. I am very excited to tell you that going from this point forward, the Dance to Heal podcast is receiving a makeover. Yes, this is not a maybe, this is definite, for sure, gonna happen. You're gonna start looking out for some brand new graphics, okay? And also for my OGs, my people who have been with me from the beginning, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your support. And I want you to know that this new direction is also still going to serve you. Because I came to a realization when I first started this podcast, it came from my book and my platform, which was 2015 when I was declared cancer-free and done with treatment. I was released, and back then there was no support. We were just told to be really grateful you're alive, come back next year. And I was like, what? Because I was dealing with a lot of survivor guilt and anger that I got cancer and not knowing how to prevent it from coming back. Because here's the joke that was happening at that time. When I was diagnosed in 2014, I was at my best and most fit self since even before my kids. I've been strength training, working out regularly. I'm talking about driving through the winters in snow, 5 a.m. to the gym, where we would have to wait for the instructor to get there because he was late, like 3 out of the 10 times, yeah? And then working out and being home before 7 a.m. I'd gone fully vegan, and I was doing these smoothie healthy shakes all the time, and I was feeling super strong. Meanwhile, no one was acknowledging back then that I had 4 years of behind the scenes, a child who at 10 was newly diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And we didn't know, our one mistake I would say is that we weren't going to therapy. And so we were just muddling along, trying to keep my kid alive. And then around that time, I was about to launch my fusion belly dance career, and then my husband had to go in for emergency surgery. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, because at that point it felt as if I was going to become a widow with 2 teenagers by myself. It was a very sudden surgery. It was a complication from his cancer from 20 years before that, right? And so it broke me, and I didn't even know how to prevent the same patterns from coming back, because there was no history of breast cancer in my family. I was the first one. There was a history of cancer, not breast cancer, not hormone positive breast cancer, right? And then subsequently, as I started to learn more about, back then, 2014, people weren't told mainstream that, oh, hey, guess what? You have cells mutating in your body all the time. And it's your body's immune system that gets rid of it. Yeah, because we're reproducing cells when we're recovering and replenishing every single thing in our body, right? You know that, yes? In case you didn't, and I don't want you to in any way feel that you're lacking, because a lot of times it wasn't provided for us in school, yeah? Every single part of you, skin, hair, teeth, eyeballs, lips, your tongue, yeah? Your body is recycling the cells all the time. And in the recycling of the cells, sometimes they mutate. And for the most part, our bodies are quite capable of getting rid of the mutations, right? Sometimes if your immune system or your body's security team is already stretched thin, they don't catch every cell that has mutated, which then can make it very dangerous, because then it will really mutate into something like cancer, autoimmune diseases, etc. Yeah. So then what I was noticing as I was starting and launching programs off of the book Outside In Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Cancer, dancing my way back to myself after breast cancer, or dancing my way back to my body. So it's like, it was called Myself, Not Myself, like myself before breast cancer, right? It is really interesting. None of my actual regular clients were the me after cancer. They were the me before cancer, where it would have really helped to know all the things that I was suggesting for after cancer were also applicable to before cancer. Because here's the thing, you're a survivor. If you're listening or watching this on YouTube, or listening to me on Apple or any other of the amazing podcast platforms out there, we all are survivors of the COVID pandemic. I call it the panini because we're all in different definitions of whether or not it's over. Yeah. So the panini, we're all survivors. It was like the Thanos snap. And then a third of our population was gone, or a fourth, gone overnight. Well, over a series of a year, 6 months. We're survivors of that. Whether or not you were directly affected or you were completely affected, we have to deal with the after effects of it. There is anger about what happened. Whether or not you believed it was I'm not going to address the source of it. Does that make sense? I want to help those of us who are here in the aftermath of it. How do we make sure our security teams, our personal guards in our bodies, are not stretched thin? Right? Consistency is key, though, because you might hear this, go, oh yeah, this resonates, and then you forget me. Like in our last episode, we were talking about how important it was to set an alarm. I'm going to show you the alarm. I've done it. I shifted everything so that instead of doing breath work only once, that 11-11, right? This is now my alarm times, and you can see that the 11-11 is that box breath that I said I was going to do. And then I changed 333, which was my move, to breathe and move, right? And we're going to ask my body, is this good for now, on top of my grounding process in the mornings? Yes. Go back to watch the episode from last week, because I go through all the muscle testing. So you understand. My people who are listening, I did a muscle test and my body said yes. Yeah. All right. So make sure you do that. This direction of the podcast is now going into this understanding that you are the CEO of your health. Okay? Yes, when I was an occupational therapist, way back before my kids were born, so my kids are now 26. I have fraternal twins through in vitro fertilization. Okay? They're now 26 and a half. So 27 years ago, and even earlier, 30 years ago, when I was actively working in rehabilitation, back then, every morning, there would be the doctor, and we would all meet as a team. Social worker, OT, PT, occupational therapist, physical therapist, social worker, nurses, sometimes specialties, other orthopedics, if they were like a bad auto accident, yeah. Neurologist, we would meet and tell the doctor from our perspective what's going on with the client. Were they safe to go home? Were they making any gains? Did affection occur? And we all had to be aware of it. Protocols to follow, how to get to home safe. And I want you to understand that instead of the doctor being in charge, in our self-care, your self-care, you are the main center in that wheel spoke of care or a team around you. Okay? Because you're the only one who's with you 24/7. None of us are. Just you inside your head, inside your gift, your body, which is a gift. right? So what are you doing to listen to it instead of it always being mind over body now? Since last week to this week, I've turned 57. I'm no longer 56. I am now hashtag 57 years young. Woo! I'm gonna give myself, okay, so on the YouTube thing, we're gonna give myself some sparkle. I got like little streamers flying through the air right now on the YouTube, because I am definitely now, I am on my way. I am not just an elder in training. I'm starting to hit that elder status. And part of that has been that my body really appreciates that I have really tried and made an effort, giving myself grace, making it consistent, and then also being clear with my nose now. What I can do and what I cannot do. For example, last week, I did an old pattern. I tried to do 3 different medical appointments in one day. One of that included blood work. And then I came to my senses and went, no, I don't think I can do that. So I pushed the physical therapist back to the day after. And my body thanked me for it, because blood work is very stressful, whether you do it regularly or not. To walk into a building and have to sit there while they poke a needle in and suck out your fluids that are vital to your existence out of your body for a test, right? That's not normally a fun thing. None of us willingly go, ooh, exciting, right? There is an amount of stress for me because it's associated with my cancer care still. I had to realize my body was being really triggered. Even my mind was being triggered. Everything was triggered. And I listened to my body, and I asked my body, should I switch my physical therapist appointment with my daughter, who was the day after? And the answer, should I switch? And my body, muscle testing, my body was like, yeah, right? Because it was just too much, right? I'm learning in who I am that I am probably some type of undiagnosed along the spectrum scale, and I am just really good at masking. Because when I'm not masking, if you were in my house and you were a fly on the wall, you would see me doing all kinds of strange behaviors and echo sounding to myself all the time. And I never realized that was normal, and I didn't have to hide it, right? So I'm going to give you permission to be fully you. Stay here with us in this particular pivot of the Dance to Heal podcast. We're still going to be called the Dance to Heal podcast, understanding now that life is a dance. We want you to be fully embodied in that process. So my following guests, we will speak on that. All right, we'll see you. See you next time. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit outsideinrecovery.com. Are you ready to move?